I'd like now to introduce Alfonso Zapata, who's a General Manager of ING Direct in Italy. Alfonso.
Thank you. I would like to focus on a couple of things. First, how is the banking industry today? And the second one is how far are we from a real single market in banking? If you would analyze banks 10 years before now, and you would analyze how they are right now, both analysts and rating agencies would be saying the same thing. Banks are clearly overcapitalized with a spare capital that need to do something with that capital, and banks have a tremendous amount of liquidity. The situation has very much changed over the last 10 years in the banking industry. There has been strong regulatory changes. There have been a strong deleverage, capital strengthening, cleanup of toxic assets. I think the situation in banking today, if you look at it with the views and the eyes of 10, 15, even 5 years ago, it's pretty good. Northern countries have taken this cleanup of the banking industry in the 2-3 years ago, and now it's the turn of southern countries who have been gradually cleaning up their balance sheets, but now they're taking a more decisive action. Why is the perception that this is not the case? Well, I think the objective of banks is lending. We are here for lending. That's our business. It's not that we don't like lending. It is our business. There's no banking that doesn't like doing lending. But there are three elements that are stopping us from lending. One is the leverage. We are forced to very strong deleverage under the new scenario and the new regulations. The second one is that every penny that is available, there's someone calling for it, and that's the states that are paying much more than private companies in many countries. And the third one is that we are living in a very uncertain environment, and we are having moving targets in terms of regulations, capital requirements, funding, liquidity, all of that. And that makes it very difficult. The other topic is how far are we from a real single market in banking? And I would say that we are very far. Why do I say this? If you take a look at a couple of observations, except for very few countries that you could count with a handful, there are no foreign banks that rank top 5 in any of the countries. And this is a symptom, especially if you consider that banking is an international business. The second one is that banks are severely damaged by rating agencies when there's a rating problem with the country. And that shouldn't be the case because, once again, banks should be really an international business, and our aim is to be an international business. Why does this happen? Well, banks are international, but control of banks is local. There's no openness. There's a retrenching from the local central banks, and they're gaining power by controlling more and more their own banks. Europe lacks strong institutions. We do have institutions. We do not have strong institutions for banking. Yes, there's EBA, there's Basel, there's ECB. They're all more or less policymakers. But you know what? Control is in the hand of local banks, which are incapable of controlling international businesses, and the ECB is not allowed to control all the banks because that would go against the wish of the local banks. Have we done something? Yes, we have done something in the last 5 years, and we have done it probably in the wrong direction. We have created college of supervisors. When a bank has presence in several countries, then the different local central banks meet together, every one of them with their own interests, to oversee which is the activity of that bank that has activity in their own small silos. So yes, there are college of supervisors, but the only thing this is doing is hiding the real problem, which is that there's not a European authority that can control banks. We have also done stress tests, to which I have been always very skeptical, because looking at it from inside the bank, there is reason to be skeptical. But stress tests have been run by different European institutions, and the two of them under different rules of the game. So which one is the best? We don't know. We don't really know. So in principle, my last message would be that we do lack strong and powerful institutions in Europe, that the ECB role should be really enhanced and should be put forward, because there is very capable and very knowledgeable people in the ECB. I don't know if we have to go to the extreme of eliminating the local central banks. I think for the sake of having a clean start of the new role of the ECB, I think would be a positive message, even though it is true also that there are many banks in every country that could probably be supervised from local instances. Certainly, we need much more openness. We need common rules of the game. We need a common guarantee scheme. And we also need to promote alternative sources of funding, because in the coming years, there's not going to be much money from banks to companies, because the rules are changing, because banks have been lending long-term money, and deleveraging takes time. So we better find alternative ways of funding, because if not, the situation is not going to get much better. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much indeed. The banking theme is one that does seem to be being repeated, obviously very central to the issues that we're looking at.